Honestly, people always try to find an excuse not to be a vegetarian. It's an illness, you know, it's an addiction. Meat contains adrenaline and other fear poisons, and people get hooked on it. You know, they like the way they feel after they eat it, because it's just a drug. Yuck. The hardest thing, though, is quitting cigarettes.
Yeah.
Boy, that's more addictive than heroin.
Yeah, I actually, I smoked when I was younger. I smoked for about a good 6 years, and I must have been blessed. I don't know why, but I just quit because it was boring.
It's pretty boring.
I was doing it because everybody else was doing it.
Well, of course.
And at the time, I was just like, why am I spending my money on this? I don't care enough. So I quit, and I never felt the urge to go back to it. So it was perfect for me.
Cool. Yeah, that's intelligent. I mean,
well, they do say that that's the best way to get rid of a bad habit, is when you become bored with your own bad habit. They did actually tests in, like, I don't want to say Scotland, but I don't think that's right, with heroin addicts.
Yeah.
Like, every time the heroin addicts needed a fix, they'd give them heroin instead of giving them, like, you know, methadone or some other alternative. They would just give them the heroin they wanted. And after a certain amount of time, these people just got bored with their own habits because they didn't have to steal to get it anymore. Like, the fun became...
Well, that's true. A lot of the attraction is the tension of the separation from the object of your desire. You know? And it's like, once you get it, you realize, hey, this isn't so great.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the big deal anyway, you know?
Yet here in America, we refuse to use that technique. We still give away methadone like it's candy, and then people are dying from that.
Yeah.
Overdosing on methadone, and they can't get the heroin.
Yeah, it's got a lot of side effects. It's nasty stuff.
Because the people trying to cure them from their addiction, the people bringing the drugs into the country.
Yeah, and they're giving them something else to be addicted to. I mean, methadone is just as addictive as heroin, and just as deadly. You know.
That's the pharmaceutical.
Methadone is a pharmaceutical version of heroin, basically.
It doesn't get you high.
It's just supposed to fix the... Which I think if you're not going through this well, then you're not going to. But they say that, you know, being bored with your own bad habits is the way to get off of it. You know, like you can quit smoking because your friend tells you to quit smoking. But you want to quit smoking for yourself? Oh, that's not good.
Or when your life's in danger.
Yeah. Oh, that too. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I've had a couple friends that the one friend in particular, her heart stopped from using heroin, and she actually died for a couple seconds on the not on the operating table, but in the hospital, and was revived, and was supposed to stay overnight just to be, you know, observed, but she left that night and was back to using it that night. It's like, if that wasn't enough of a wake-up call, you know, if that wasn't a sign.
Well, it takes someone to be sick from it for a consistent amount of time for them to feel the debilitation. Well, let's say you got sick and you were good like that same day. There's no...
Yeah. Well, plus people then look at it as like, oh, well, I'll just be smarter about it this time. I won't take that much in one sitting. You know, they try and justify it in other ways.
Thank you.
I find it funny though, because a lot of other
You'll have a good time.
where drinking is allowed and children are...
I used to go to the store when I was 5 years old. Cigarettes and alcohol for, you know, not for myself, but like for the, you know, I'll go down to the supermarket and get a pack of cigarettes.
But the chances of the people abusing that the way that they're using them, that's not the way that it's not.
Yeah, saw their parents, their friends, you saw that. So that was really the only advertisement. There wasn't all these flashy colors and all these movie stars and all these crazy things. So, that's really what kind of drives
And they have all these flavors now that appeals to kids. And they're sitting there trying to argue and make these flavors to attract children. Yeah. They have those candy cigarettes, the sugar
I used to
cigarettes.
get those when I was a kid and imitate.
Bubblegum cigar.
Krishna,
Bubblegum
Krishna.
chew.
Yeah, those have been around for too.
Bubblegum chew is excellent, but if you think of the taste, I love bubblegum chew. Think about it now in the water. Yeah, it's like, here we have this sugar we're putting in the front of our lips trying to look like we're cool, like we got sugar in our mouth and we're like 5 years old, and the sugar's sitting in the nose places.
Has that been going all this time?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we still have 5 hours and 44 minutes left on it.
Oh, it has a lot of disk space, huh?
Yeah, 30 gig.
Yeah. No, we just have to edit out the boring parts.
Oh, yeah, well, you don't have to do any editing.
Okay. Is everybody here? No. Benson. Krishna, Krishna. This one. We're waiting for one more person?
Hey,
Just went through that.
Oh, okay. So we're almost ready to start again.
yeah, sure.
So it's such a nice day. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but as far as the readings go, I want to collect everybody's birth data, and then we'll get together by web conference and do the reading, at your convenience after I'm back in Mexico. Then I'll have lots of time, and I can just sit with you for a couple of hours and look at your chart, and I can answer your questions. So really what I'd like to cover in the next, hour or two, is the difference between Western astrology and Vedic astrology. The differences are very profound. The biggest difference between Western astrology and Vedic astrology, is of course in the understanding of what astrology means. For example, Western astrology more or less assumes that the planets cause things to happen here on Earth. And that's a very misleading concept. Obviously, the planets are way up there and moving around in their orbits and stuff. And what connection do they really have? What cause and effect relationship do they really have with what goes on in people's lives? So that's a misleading concept. We don't subscribe to that concept, that the planets cause anything to happen in our lives. What's really going on is that time causes things to happen in our lives. And time, as we discussed yesterday, is cyclical and it's fractal. The patterns repeat over and over again at different scales. So when we look at time on different time scales, it appears to be the same pattern. When we look at time in the planetary realm and then we look at time in the human realm, we see the same patterns reflected. And that's what astrology is really about. When we see the planets go through a certain motion, a certain pattern of movement, we can recognize that as correlating with particular events on the human level. It's an empirical science. When Mercury goes retrograde, here's an example. When Mercury goes retrograde, we notice there are things that Mercury controls that go backwards or that have problems, like communication, understanding, agreements, technology,